Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes here. Welcome to the Triple Crunch Crispy Podcast. Live from New York. By New York, I mean Taco Bell. By Taco Bell, I mean it's just a green screen behind there, guys. But don't let the illusion break you, guys. Pretend I'm in a Taco Bell right now, and we just tried out the new cheesy core. Whatever side it's on, man. You all see it on the sign? It was on the picture. I had that once, like 3 years ago. It was gross. This is not sponsored by Taco Bell and probably never will be because of that one comment, but it was not their best work. Anyway, guys, there's a few NBA basketball topics I do want to talk about today. You know, just simply talking some hoops, right, man? And then over on my Twitter account at KrispyFlakes2K, I asked you guys to ask me NBA questions for a video. These are the questions on the screen in front of me that you cannot currently see, but this is that video which you can currently see, man. So, yes, two big topics that I think are kind of going on in the NBA right now that I really want to get to. I think one, we'll start a little bit of a lighter note, and that is Pascal Siakam and the Toronto Raptors. So the Raptors are like 2-8 on the season, and there's a lot of like memes going on as far as just like, you know, maybe Pascal would kind of work out better as a running back in the NFL because of all the spin moves he likes to do before game-winning shots. But I will say, despite these past two games and how close they were, I think that's one thing that we always kind of understood about Pascal and really the Raptors is that the Raptors are a greatly built team. And what makes that team so great is that you can literally just put, I mean, there's a lot of players that if you just insert like a superstar, yes, they're going to be that much better and contend for a championship. But the Raptors, ever since Kawhi Leonard left, have just been like primed and ready to just like, hey, some superstar, you want to win a championship? You want to lead the way? Here you go. We got everything around you, right, man? And when I look at Pascal Siakam, I do think he's one of the best power forwards in the NBA. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I do think, you know, when he took on that role of being the number one guy when Kawhi left, I did see potential for there to be some difficulties, especially as far as like the transition goes and just really taking on that new role. Not to mention, too, transitioning to that role, not only like does he not have that coverage of being like, well, this is a guy coming out of nowhere. That's essentially what Pascal was, I believe, when he went Most Improved Player a few years ago. Like, at that time, nobody knew like what Pascal was, so he was able to kind of sneak up on you. Now there's game tape and all that stuff, and you can kind of see what he's all about, right? But even with that, I don't think that's like a bad thing. I mean, some guys just are who they are, but if we allow people to be more than who they are, and we don't accept who they are, and we don't take accountability to build on who somebody is, and how to build that into a different thing, then I feel like as an NBA fan, you know, that's our fault. I feel like if you're a Toronto Raptors fan right now and you're in the comments, you know, roasting me about saying anything negative about Pascal Siakam, you are a problem with that 2-8 start. I'm sorry to say it. We have to hold our team and our players accountable, and really the coaching staff too. I've looked at both game-winning or game-attempting shots, and I feel like in both cases, you know, for one, the one against the Golden State Warriors, if you guys saw the clip, there was like somebody that actually like broke down just how intelligent Draymond Green was in calling out every single little thing that the Raptors were going to run. So when you have these plays that I don't really want to call predictable, but when a player on the opposing team can call out literally everything, I don't know what the timeout situation was, but I do think that is the coach's job to be like, hey, whoa, like call a timeout. But I mean, I can see like in the heat of the moment, you know, a coach is not expecting that to happen. So what happens? Well, all of a sudden it's, okay, give the ball to Pascal Siakam, and I think they had like Andrew Wiggins on him, who Andrew Wiggins has been a great defender this season. Last I checked, he's averaging like 2 blocks a game, or at least pretty damn close to it. So he's been a really solid defender. So all of a sudden you have all these guys, all these moving pieces that are getting like stopped in their tracks. There's not too much time to make anything else happen. You give it to Pascal Siakam in the isolation, and I mean, at that point, you know he's going to shoot the basketball. So, you know, whole like spinning to the basket. I mean, he is bigger than Andrew Wiggins, so there's something to be said about that. And I forgot who they played last night, but I do remember it was the same circumstance where it came down to, you know, him spinning to the basket and stuff. And really, I saw the shot. I don't remember who the team was, but he was pretty close to the basket. He pretty much just like missed it. But like, once again, to me, that comes more down to execution and drawing up a play from the coach more so than it is on the guy that probably, you know, should be taking the final shot if he appears to be like the go-to guy on that team. but maybe not like that. Maybe draw up something for the guy, so at least, work on getting him open or something, giving him a better opportunity. But putting a guy in isolation and having him spin to the basket and stuff, I don't think that's simply just on Pascal Siakam. And if I'm being 100% honest, just like I look at the direction of this Raptors team, and I could very well see why Raptor fans are so defending of their squad, because even the year they won the championship, nobody really expected that. And even last year, they went on that crazy, wasn't like a 19-game win streak. And once again, that was the defending champs. Yes, Kawhi is off the team, and him leaving the team obviously is a huge thing. Nobody's denying that. But even at that time, once again, the Raptors were getting completely disrespected, right, man? And now this season, they're 2-8. A lot of people, like myself, are criticizing them, and I don't really want to say I'm criticizing. I'm more so just pointing out what I'm seeing, which that's different if you ask me. So even as far as that goes, it's like Raptor fans are like, well, we know what we can do. But even going back to last season, the 19-game win streak, it's like they didn't win the championship, right? But they won one in the past 2 seasons. So how hard can you be on that squad? But the reason that I look at this Raptors team, and I think the reason I feel like this connection to them almost is because I do feel like they are built like how my Pistons were back in the day. I mean, obviously the Pistons never had a Kawhi Leonard level caliber player on their squad, but after that, the way they built it was just a whole bunch of guys that just kind of worked hard to get to where they were. Like Kyle Lowry, he's become a great point guard in his late NBA career. He's always been a solid point guard, but he became a great point guard later on. Fred VanVleet was what is he, 6'2" or something like that? Just a guy that was always this what's he going to be? Pascal Siakam obviously came out of nowhere. Even now you got guys like Chris Boucher that are having great season, having a great season go back to last year and everything like that. So, I mean, once again, though, I think it's okay to keep some of that identity, but also at the same time, you have to be willing to make the correct moves to keep your team going, the longevity of things, right? Because if you just keep a team going in the same direction without making the proper changes just for the sake of having pride, you're going to find all your assets losing trade value, losing confidence, and in the long run of things, it's going to be worse for your team. So I have a suggestion on how to fix this team, or at least get them in heading in that right direction, right? And every single Raptors fan is going to hate on me for this 100%. 1,000,000,000% they're going to hate on me for this. But I feel like based off their cap situation, they paid Pascal, OG got paid, Fred VanVleet got paid. I like that as a trio, to be honest. It's a pretty young trio who all have championship experience now and winning experience, which is invaluable if you ask me. I think the team needs to trade Kyle Lowry. I know. Hold on. We're at Taco Bell, okay? We keep it classy at Taco Bell, okay? That's why I brought us to this nice location. Go get you a damn, Crunchwrap Supreme, bro. No tomatoes if you need to, okay? If you need to do that, go do it right now. Not a sponsored video by Taco Bell, by the way. It's usually something I get, though. At that point, it's just a larger taco without tomatoes, right? That's really all Taco Bell is. It's just different variations of Taco Bell and the same ingredients. But that's a story for a different day. Probably not. Because I think about it like this. Kyle Lowry's 34 or 35. He's having a great season. You could arguably say he's been the best player on... It might not be an argument. You could say he's been the best player on the Toronto Raptors. But, like I said, he's 35. His contract, I think he's got 2 years, $30 million per season left on it. He's somebody that could really have a huge impact on a championship team. And I think at that point, it's time to dig deep, as a Raptors fan, and realize, hey, we just won a championship. Do we think we're going to win one of the next 2 seasons? And it's okay to have, it's okay to have that confidence and think you could, but there's a difference between having too much confidence and being extremely delusional, right? There's a fine line between there where it's well, we have a really good team, but I could understand from a basketball standpoint, removing a guy like Kyle Lowry would make a lot of sense. Because I think Kyle Lowry could still have that Goran Dragic type of impact on a team that's trying to contend. I mean, going on the Miami Heat last season, despite his age and everything, he was a big reason they got to the finals, and he was a big reason they lost the finals because of his injuries and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to write off like saying like the Heat would have won it with a completely healthy Goran Dragic because the Lakers were so dominant and stuff, but he was a big reason they got there, and I do think would have been a lot more of a competitive series had he have stayed healthy, right? So I've been saying this for a long time. Kyle Lowry to the Clippers makes complete sense to me. Like that team is aching for that leader. Kawhi Leonard was great with Kyle Lowry, and Kyle Lowry was great with Kawhi Leonard, and I feel like those guys complement each other nicely. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, all right, Crispy, you want to trade Kyle Lowry away from our team? What exactly are we going to get back? Well, that's the thing. It's like, because you guys are coming off a great last season. Kyle Lowry's putting up good stats, but over time, Lowry's age is going to show at some point, and if the team's not doing well, that is going to decrease his trade value. Look at Blake Griffin on the Pistons. Nobody wants Blake Griffin. He's got a very large contract. I mean, and he started off 2 seasons ago as an all-star, one of the top power forwards in the NBA on the Pistons, had his best season, and now nobody wants him for anything, right? And that really does suck. Because if we would have traded him back then, we would have been a lot better off for right now. So I think what the Raptors can do, okay, you have to look up at the upcoming NBA free agency and stuff. And if I remember correctly, I don't think it's extremely deep. I don't know what superstar names are available. But I think if they were able to just trade for like an expiring contract and free up some of that cap space, because Fred VanVleet is your point guard of the future, guys. Like, you guys have Fred VanVleet. That dude is fantastic, man. And I know he's playing the shooting guard spot and stuff. You guys do the whole double point guard backcourt thing. But I think there's other opportunities to build this team and kind of fix some of the holes. Like, I don't think this team really needs Lowry and Fred VanVleet. I feel like if you have one or the other, you are in a fantastic situation because, a lot of teams would have one of those guys, right? And I think you look at, I look at the weaknesses of the team. I mean, having like a closer, obviously. This team doesn't seem to be the same without Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, although I do like Chris Boucher a lot. But I like Chris Boucher more so as like that Montrezl Harrell 6-man role that brings that energy off the bench. It just does so much more than your backup big does that it becomes a big-time asset. I like him in that role, right? So, obviously, if they were able to pull off something for some sort of center out there, I don't know what that trade is exactly, but that would be great. But if anything, maybe free up cap space to kind of fix some of the holes. But this thing, too, about the Raptors is that they tend to be a very deep team. So, even as far as like going out there and getting like depth, it's like the team does have plenty of depth. But if you trade Kyle Lowry, all of a sudden you are looking probably for like a shooting guard caliber, starting shooting guard caliber player. Looking for a center, trying to improve that department because Aaron Baines hasn't really been all that special for this team either, as much as a big impact that I thought he was going to have. So I just think there's opportunities out there. Now, obviously, we could just have the Raptors keep Kyle Lowry, and there's a good chance that team comes back. And because right now they're tied for the Pistons in the East with having the worst record. Like, that's not sustainable with a team like that. That's just not sustainable. So there's a good chance they start winning more games, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we're like the 6th seed or 4th seed or something like that. That's fine too. It all comes down to expectations and what the Raptor fans want. I don't think currently constructed this team is a championship team. I do think constructed, with some changes in gameplay and coaching style, I do think they are a playoff team. But then it's like, is that what the Raptors want? And maybe fans are just okay with that, with having a really good basketball team that's just fun to watch. And maybe they don't win the championship, but hey, it's fun to watch. We won one a few seasons ago, right, man? So I just think that's a route to go. I look beyond that, and I don't really see a lot of opportunity. The team's not going to trade Fred VanVleet after just signing a contract. Pascal's not going to get traded. So I look at Kyle Lowry, who just age-wise does not fit in with what the rest of the team is. And that's nothing against him. That's not saying he's a bad player. It's simply a move to take the team in a different direction, right? So that's just my thoughts on that, man. Okay, next up, I do want to talk a bit about Kyrie Irving. Yes, Kyrie Irving has missed like 4 games so far due to personal reasons. And I'm not one to get like extremely like political and stuff like that, man. My grandma always told me you want to keep your friends. Don't talk about money, don't talk about religion, and don't talk about politics, right? I mean, everybody has different beliefs, everybody has different upcomings and upbringings and different reasons for believing in certain things and stuff. So yes, Kyrie Irving, though, has missed 4 games. It looks like he's not going to play for at least another week. And right now it's been drawn up to personal reasons. Now, I don't want to speculate. I hate speculating, but I guess we're kind of doing that in a way by talking about it. People were kind of saying, like, there was footage released of him being at, like, a family birthday party, and the big thing was, like, he wasn't wearing his mask. And obviously, you have a lot of NBA players right now that are testing positive for COVID and testing and really just like missing games and stuff for, it's not even so much like a player's not following protocol. It's that somebody else might not be following protocol and therefore they're going to end up affecting another person out there. So, we all have different thoughts and beliefs on COVID and stuff like that, man. But I don't really know what to think of Kyrie Irving. And when I saw that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were joining the Nets, 75% of me was like, damn, that's going to be a good duo. And then 25% of me said something like this is going to happen where, Kyrie has his right to his thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. But if we're talking strictly basketball in this case, it's just like we knew there would be some sort of like distraction out there that was going to potentially keep this team from reaching their full potential, right? And the thing about Kyrie Irving is that, going back to the Boston Celtic days, it seems like the guy either has like some personal things going on that keep him from playing basketball consistently at the best of his ability, or he has a major injury, right? And if I'm being 100% honest, man, I could see this ending with Kyrie Irving retiring from basketball. I know that would literally just blow up the internet. But I honestly think Kyrie Irving is no doubt already going to retire from basketball early. I think he's kind of already stated that. But he has so many like gripes with how the NBA is ran and everything, the business side of things. I could just see him just calling it quits. And that would really suck for Nets fans. That would suck for Kevin Durant. That would suck for everybody on that team that, joined that team initially or signed a contract with that team with the idea that, hey, we're going to do something special here in New York, right? So I don't know when we see Kyrie again. It's such a confusing situation, but it's also one of those like it's one of those very touchy situations too, man, where like if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, you are going to make a lot of people angry, right? And the NBA definitely doesn't want to do that. I mean, as far as like ratings and everything like that go, the teams or the NBA as a whole is like already not in the greatest place last time I checked, and just how this NBA season is just it's just weird, man. I can't wait to get back to just normal NBA basketball, playing in arenas filled with fans and stuff like that. But all that stuff's going to take time, right? And there's so much more to the pandemic than what's going on in the NBA, right? I mean, it's a global thing. So that's just me selfishly saying, like, man, I can't wait for the NBA to get back. But I do understand, too, that it's going to take a lot more than just people caring about basketball getting back before things happen, right? So those are the two topics I really want to talk about, man. I had, like I said, I posted some questions over on my Twitter. Hopefully you guys like this right here. Like I said, man, this is just me talking and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do this every single day. I like just talk about basketball, especially right now, because NBA 2K21, which this might be a topic for a different day, is just such in a bad place. So, excuse me. Usually when I do these videos, they don't get a lot of views and they don't get really a lot of like engagement and stuff. Because, I do understand from a YouTube standpoint. I mean, this is like video creation 101, is that people typically find just like a talking head like this to be boring. But I do know those people out there that are probably sitting there listening to this and they really enjoy it. And I appreciate you so much, man. I appreciate you so much. So, yeah, I feel like this year on YouTube for me, just kind of going into this real quick, is more so just about like enjoying the type of content that I put up. Because, it's very easy in years past to just fall back and do my league content and stuff, because I know that's what like performs and stuff, but the game is so broken. And I think King of the Fourth Quarter confirmed that Start Today mode's not coming back and stuff. So it's really put me in a very uncomfortable spot where I can't have that to fall back on. And trust me, the channel is showing it. The views are down, subscribers are down, but that's a good opportunity to just have fun, right, man? So, and I've always been somebody personally that has, when YouTube was going at its best, and like my second channel is still doing fine and everything like that. But I've always preached this, going back to even before I really did YouTube, is always save some for a rainy day. So I, like, financially and stuff, I'll be fine. Like, I could probably go like the next 2 or 3 years and not make a single video, and I would be completely fine. Now I can't do that because I would get bored out of my mind, and I love making content and stuff. But we'll be good, guys. That's just if you were worried about like your favorite content creator. No, me personally, I'll be okay. But the people that are 19 minutes, 22 seconds, whatever is into this video, I usually edit off like the first like 5 seconds because me push and play. Nobody wants to see that. I do appreciate you so much. So, yeah, had to point that out, man. So, this is really fun. This is cool, though. Like, this is what I like to do, man, so much. Is just, I feel like this way, too, Because when I'm doing a rebuild, I feel like I'm so like robotic sometimes. Like, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes are, same old, same old, same old. Where like this, you guys get to see more of the personality. So hopefully, you guys, enjoy this. But all right, I'm gonna answer a few questions right here on this Q&A. So we got a Twitter tweet from Angs who says, "What's your League Pass team?" I do not currently have League Pass. I feel like personally League Pass is a ripoff because the only reason I ever originally got League Pass was to watch the Pistons, but it wasn't until I got League Pass that I found that I actually knew that you couldn't watch the team that you were locally able to see via cable because cable companies are greedy, which currently they're also not on YouTube TV anymore. So I kind of want to get rid of that now too, but it's whatever. So I guess this is what or who made you want to start making YouTube videos and how did you get into basketball? Okay. This is by James Williams, by the way. So I got into basketball, I believe in third grade is when I first joined the team. And I think my mom and my dad agreed to sign me up just as a way to like try something new for me. I do remember at the time, I forgot, because I know the Pistons won in 2004, so I was 12. So I have no idea what grade I was in. I don't think that was third grade. Maybe it was around that age. I don't know. I remember falling in love with the Detroit Pistons and stuff, so maybe there was some correlation there. I remember I got like NBA 2K5. That was my first basketball game, and it all just kind of came to be. And as far as YouTube videos, I started doing YouTube videos because I liked the idea of entertaining, creation, and basketball. And I wasn't very good at basketball, so it was a way for me to kind of like do something with it. And here we are today, man. Like, I ain't in the NBA. But I will say, financially speaking, at my high school, I've probably made the second most from basketball-related stuff. First being Matt Costello, because he actually was in the NBA for a bit, and had a full ride to Michigan State. But, yeah. Okay, if it wasn't for injury, who do I think would have had the best NBA career? I think Grant Hill, followed by Derrick Rose. Brandon Roy wouldn't have been up there. Obviously Tracy McGrady. Penny Hardaway would have continued to dominate. I feel like there's a lot of answers to that. I feel like any NBA player that was a solid player, but to say like the best, this is not me just being a biased Pistons fan. Like, people literally said Grant Hill would have been the next Michael Jordan. There's a lot that comes with that. But that's just what I hear. What teams do I think would trade for Westbrook if the Wizards do decide to trade him? Oh man, that's a tough one. I have nothing against Westbrook. People feel like I'm some sort of like Westbrook hater, but I just feel like when it comes to Russell, and by the way, this is a question by Jacob. He also asked the injury question too. But no, man, I don't know. I just feel like with Westbrook, there's only like a certain system that works around him, and that's for a team to have like decent success. I just don't know if Russell Westbrook to me like comes off as like an NBA championship player. I just don't know that. So the Knicks, I guess, would be kind of interesting, just to like surround him with all like that current like Knicks talent. I feel like a guy like Kevin Knox would play nicely off him. Pick and roll with Mitchell Robinson could be decent. RJ Barrett could be like that second option, and that'd work out pretty nicely. Got Julius Randle. Obviously, you have to give us some of those guys to get Westbrook, but kind of something like that. Okay. Do I think Jeremy Grant has a strong case for most improved player? Yes, I'm literally answering all Jacob's questions right here, man. They're the good ones that are popping up. They're all good questions, but they're the ones that's really coming to me right here, man. Do I think he has a strong case for most improved? Yeah, he's averaged like 20 points in like 8 or 9 straight games. First Piston besides Blake Griffin in the past 20 years to have back-to-back like 30-point, 10-rebound games or something like that. So I would say that's hell of a case, man, for most improved player, no doubt. Favorite non-Pistons team and player. Favorite all-time non-Pistons team and player. I don't really have like a second team that I really connect to outside of the Pistons. I really liked, the Dirk Nowitzki team. They had like Jason Kidd. I loved Jason Terry, Michael Finley, Sean Marion. So those teams are really cool back in the day. I remember watching them a lot. I liked the CP3, David West, Tyson Chandler, Pelicans. Steve Nash was always fun to watch, on the Phoenix Suns. It's not so much like a favorite team. I think I just have like a favorite era of basketball. And it was kind of like that mid 2000s till like the early 2010s. Like that was my favorite era of basketball, no doubt in my mind. Where do the Bulls go with how well some players have played and where to go for the future of them? So I've not really paid too much attention to the Bulls as of late. I know they started bad with the season, but I heard as of late, like Zach LaVine's playing really good. I mean, I think for the Bulls, it's all about like development. I mean, I look at their five, and it comes down to can like Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter, Patrick Williams, can those guys become like, can at least like one out of those guys become like a superstar caliber player? Because if not, then it's like, well, obviously you got to move on to somebody who can. I mean, the Chicago Bulls have like a big brand and everything. So, yeah, I mean, I think with them, it's just all about development and patience. And I know as a Bulls fan, you guys have been extremely patient for a very long time. You're like, we're ready to win. But, sometimes, some dynasties, some things take a lot longer to develop than others. And it's a lot of, about like a lot of things going right and everything too, man. So, will there be a full NBA season this year? Well, I think the simple answer, this is by Cole JP, by the way. No, I mean, it's already a 72-game season, so by default, it's not a full season. But I will say beyond that, I don't really see the season being complete. I do think at some point there will be like a 2-week break or like maybe even a month, and that's just for the NBA to really like get their bearings straight and maybe try to get the COVID and everything like that under control. So I could see some breaks happen along the way. I will say when it's all said and done, I think the NBA will have like 50 completed games. And then go into a playoffs, which could, in theory, honestly, could even be like a limited playoffs. Or maybe instead of having like 16 seeds, maybe they do like an 8 or like, through like the 6 seed or something like that. I could see something like that happening. Because then obviously at that point you do have talks about another bubble. I know a lot of NBA players do not want the bubble, but the bubble has proven to work. Going back to last year, there was 0, positive results in the bubble and everything. So, I don't know, man. There's so much to it. It's really tough. It's really tough to even, point that out. Somebody says to rank Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, and Bradley Beal. This is by Hassan Siddiqui. I hate doing rankings, man, because they're all such great players. Okay, so I think to rank them, because individually these are all great players, so I think beyond that you have to look at like records, playoff performances and all that. I do feel like that's an important factor to rank players that are so close in talent. So I feel like at that point, combining talent and winning, it would have to be Mitchell, Booker, Beal. And that's not simply going straight off skill. That's just, but, with that being said, too, I mean, that comes down to, like, the team around you, too. So, it goes beyond them. But it's so hard to do rankings. Those are all 3 fantastic players. If you have one of those guys in your team, you're very lucky. What teams would I like to see the Pistons trade D-Rose and Blake to? Whoever's willing to take on both of them, man. For D-Rose, I would be ecstatic if we got, like, 2 second-round picks or, a first-round pick. Hey, hold my breath on that one. And then Blake Griffin, I will literally just take expiring contracts at this point. What was the moment when you realized you loved basketball? Wow, that's tough. I think it was going to my first Pistons game, and which was against the Milwaukee Bucks with Michael Redd, and just being in that environment, getting to take like a shot on the court, and seeing Chauncey Billups make some game-winning free throws. That was pretty cool, and that was by Pizza Bagels. Jay says, who is your favorite NBA player? I mean, the troll answer to say would be say Luke Kennard, but I don't know. I don't really have one right now, man. I really don't. I wish I could say somebody like was full, just like my favorite player in the league. And I guess in theory somebody would have to be my favorite player, but that player does not come to mind right now. And I don't really know why. I mean, there's been like a lot of cool players, like Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey on the Pistons that I've, been like a lot of fun to watch, but I feel like they got to earn some more to become my favorite absolute player, especially Jeremy Grant. Like, he'll get there, I think, eventually, but, we got to see him do a little bit longer, too. I want to see the team get some success. Okay. I think for now, we're going to keep this one on the short side. It's going on about 28 minutes, 29 minutes here. So, yeah, man. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed me talk about basketball with a picture of Taco Bell in the background. Stay tuned next time, guys, where we actually travel to McDonald's or KFC. Maybe we'll go to Walmart. I don't really know, man. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.